What's up, Broncos country? Man, you're not going to believe what just happened with the Denver Broncos. We're talking about a move that could completely change the course of this 2025 season, and honestly, that's just the tip of the iceberg. While everyone was sleeping, the organization made a signing that has everything to be one of those genius moves that only Sean Payton can pull off. And look, there's more bombshells coming because the rumors won't stop. You think you've seen the best of the Broncos offense? Dude, you haven't seen anything yet. Let me tell you something. When the Denver Broncos announced the signing of Elijah Moore to the practice squad on Tuesday, December 2nd, 2025, it wasn't just another end-of-season move. It was a declaration of war. While the Broncos are riding a monster 9-game winning streak and sporting an impressive 10-2 record, Sean Payton is showing he didn't come here to play around. The man wants the first seed in the AFC, and he's going after every weapon available to secure it. Elijah Moore, people, this guy isn't just any random player. We're talking about a wide receiver who was the 34th pick in the 2021 draft, a second-rounder that many people thought should have been a first. The guy came out of Ole Miss with insane numbers, and people who understand football know he has that rare talent to change a game with one reception. And you know what's crazier? He played high school ball with Nick Bonito, the same guy who just signed a 4-year contract extension worth up to $120 million with the Broncos. When the news dropped, Nick Bonito went straight to Twitter. "My dog's super excited to have him here." It might seem like just a friendly tweet, but for those who know the NFL behind the scenes, this means instant chemistry. It means you have two guys who've known each other since they were kids, who know how the other thinks, and who are now reunited on a team that's flying towards the playoffs. And man, this connection could be exactly the difference maker we've been missing. But let me explain why this signing is so smart. First, Elijah Moore is only 25 years old. Yes, you read that right, 25. He's only 10 months older than R.J. Harvey, our rookie running back who was picked in the second round of the draft. So when some guys started complaining like, he's just a practice squad player, won't make a difference, I can only laugh. Remember Treyon Burks? That guy the Broncos tested 3 weeks ago and passed on? He signed with the Washington Commanders and is still on their roster. The Broncos could have grabbed him, but chose not to. And now they're going after Elijah Moore. Let's talk about what Elijah Moore brings to the table. Lane Kiffin, who coached this beast at Ole Miss, said something that gives you chills. "Never had a player as fast as him. Reminds us of having a great pitcher. When he's hot, just keep throwing him the ball." And look, Kiffin has coached a lot of good people, so when he says that, you pay attention. Odell Beckham Jr., when he played with him on the Jets, dropped this bomb. Watch out. Everyone is underestimating Elijah Moore. And man, when OBJ says someone is being underestimated, that's when things get serious. Daniel Jeremiah, one of the most respected analysts in the NFL, went even further. He said, Moore should have been a first-round pick. And it's not just talk, because when you analyze the numbers and watch the highlights, you can see the guy has absurd talent. One thing that separates Moore from many other receivers is his ability to run routes. We're talking about a slot receiver with impressive technical ability to create separation from cornerbacks. Some people were worried this would take the shine away from Marvin Mims Jr., but look, they're completely different players. Mims has that insane speed to burn any defense on deep routes. Moore is more explosive after the catch, a guy who can catch a short ball and turn it into 30, 40 yards with moves that leave defenders seeing ghosts. And there's a detail that's simply ridiculous. Throughout his entire college career at Ole Miss, Elijah Moore didn't drop a single pass in the red zone. Not one. Zero. When you have a guy with hands that reliable, you don't think twice. In the 2024 season, when he was with the Cleveland Browns, Moore had 61 receptions. And in the game against the Broncos themselves on December 2nd, 2024, exactly 1 year before the signing, he destroyed Denver's defense with 8 receptions for 111 yards. So Sean Payton knows very well what this guy is capable of. Now let's talk about the elephant in the room. Bo Nix. Man, what this quarterback is doing in the 2025 season is simply surreal. After a phenomenal rookie season in 2024, where he broke franchise records and took the Broncos back to the playoffs for the first time since 2015, Nix is showing it wasn't beginner's luck. The big problem Bo Nix had early on was playing against zone defenses. He was fantastic against man coverage, but when teams played zone, he froze up. Analysts knew it, defensive coordinators exploited it, and it seemed like it would be his Achilles heel. But you know what happened? The guy figured it out. In the last 2 games, including that insane overtime win against the Washington Commanders in Week 13, Bo Nix had over 300 passing yards. He's destroying zone defenses like it's the easiest thing in the world. In the game against the Commanders, he completed crucial passes to Evan Engram, who had a monster performance with 41 yards on a reception that ignited the offense in overtime. And that acrobatic touchdown to Cortland Sutton in the 4th quarter? My God, that was pure art. Sean Payton explained after the game, everybody already knew that Bo Nix's weakness was playing against zone defense, but he's evolved. And man, when you see the numbers, you can tell it's not just coach talk protecting his player. Nix is truly on another level. He became the first player in NFL history to have at least 2 games with over 300 passing yards, 4 touchdowns, and a quarterback rating above 140 as a rookie. And now in the 2025 season, he already has 20 combined touchdowns against only 10 turnovers in 12 games. That win against the Kansas City Chiefs in Week 11. Man, that was a statement. Denver didn't just beat the NFL's back-to-back champions. They dominated Patrick Mahomes at the end of the game. Will Lutz hit a 54-yard field goal to tie it, and then nailed another one when the game was on the line. And guess who was commanding the offense, making crucial passes to Troy Franklin, 35 yards, and Pat Bryant, 48 yards? Bo Nix. Now, if you think it's just the offense that's flying, hold on to this. The Denver Broncos defense is at a stratospheric level. With Nick Bonitto leading the pass rush, this defensive unit is causing nightmares for opposing quarterbacks. Nick Bonitto, man, this guy is special. In the 2024 season, he had 13.5 sacks, 3rd best in the NFL. He had a streak of 6 consecutive games with at least 1 sack, the longest streak in the league that year. And it's not just sacks. He had 24 QB hits, 7th in the NFL, 16 tackles for loss, 9th, and still found time to grab an interception that he returned 71 yards for a touchdown against the Indianapolis Colts. The guy is a complete monster. And you know what's crazier? Vance Joseph, the defensive coordinator, said that Bonitto has instincts like no player I've ever coached. Coming from a guy who's coached several Pro Bowlers in his career, that means something. Joseph explained that Bonitto isn't just a speed pass rusher. He has that rare ability to feel the game, to be in the right place at the right time. And the numbers prove it. In the overtime win against the Commanders, it was Nick Bonitto who made the decisive play. Washington was going for the 2-point conversion that would give them the win, and Marcus Mariota released the pass. But Bonitto was there, blocking the ball and sealing the Broncos' 9th consecutive victory. That moment perfectly defined what this team is: resilient, opportunistic, and absolutely deadly when it needs to be. And the defense isn't just Bonitto. There's Patrick Surtain, too, who many consider the best cornerback in the NFL. There's Dre Greenlaw, who came in the offseason from the San Francisco 49ers. There's Talanoa Hufanga, bringing that physical safety mentality. There's Zach Allen on the defensive line, who also signed a contract extension. This defense had 6 players who finished the 2024 season with at least 5 sacks, a league record. Here's where things get scary for the rest of the NFL. The Denver Broncos offense hasn't even shown what it can really do yet. And I'll tell you why. Ben Powers, one of the highest-paid guards on the team, has been injured for weeks. When he was on the field in the 2024 season, the Broncos averaged almost 140 rushing yards per game. Without him, that number dropped significantly. So we're talking about a team that's 10-2 playing with the third or fourth backup at the guard position. Imagine when Powers comes back. Imagine what this offense will do. And there's more. Evan Engram was clearly dealing with that back injury early in the season that was more serious than Sean Payton let on. But in recent weeks, he's come back explosive. That 41-yard reception in overtime against the Commanders, the guy was flying. Troy Franklin is gaining more and more confidence. Courtland Sutton is the natural leader every team needs. Pat Bryant is emerging as a legitimate weapon. And now you add Elijah Moore to the mix. R.J. Harvey, the rookie running back, who was picked in the second round of the 2025 draft from UCF, showed what he's capable of in Week 13. He scored 2 rushing touchdowns against the Commanders, including the decisive TD in overtime that gave them the win. The guy is 24 years old. Yes, he's old for a rookie, but that means he's already mature and is showing he can be a fundamental piece in this offense. And we can't forget Jaleel McLaughlin, that compact 5'7", 187-pound running back who is pure speed. He scored the first touchdown against the Chiefs in Week 11, a 4-yard rush where he simply disappeared between defenders and emerged in the end zone. This guy is another one who's still going to explode this season. Sean Payton isn't a football coach, he's a chess master disguised as a coach. And this Elijah Moore signing shows exactly why. First, the NFL allows teams to activate practice squad players 3 times before needing to put them on the main 53-man roster. Payton knows this and will use it. Moore can be activated in specific games where the Broncos face defenses that are vulnerable to slot receivers. This is competitive intelligence at the highest level. Third, depth. The Broncos had already released Trent Sherfield Sr. in late November and brought in Lil Jordan Humphrey from the New York Giants practice squad. Now with Moore, they have multiple experienced receiver options who can enter specific games. This is the kind of planning championship teams do. And look, people are talking about Adam Thielen. The veteran receiver asked for his release from the Minnesota Vikings because against other teams, he stays on the practice squad without taking up a valuable main roster spot. Second, information. Elijah Moore spent much of the 2025 season with the Buffalo Bills. The Broncos, if the playoffs started today, would face Buffalo in the first round. Coincidence? Please. Payton is going to extract every bit of information Moore has about the Bills' offensive tendencies, about what Josh Allen likes to do, about the most effective routes against that defense. Frustrated with the disastrous quarterback situation there. The Vikings can't develop any decent passing game, and Thielen wants to play on a competitive team. Would it be an incredible addition? For sure. But with Moore already on the practice squad, the chances have diminished. But hey, never say never with Sean Payton. The guy could show up tomorrow with another bombshell. Let's talk numbers because at the end of the day, that's what matters in the NFL. The Denver Broncos are 10-2. This is the best start since the Super Bowl 50 championship campaign in 2015. They're in first place in the AFC West, 2 games ahead of their rivals. The defense is allowing only 18.2 points per game, 4th best in the league. The offense is scoring 23.7 points per game, 13th in the NFL. But here's the detail that's scary. In 2025, the Broncos are 8-2 in games decided by 7 points or less. 8-2. In 2024, they were 1-6 in those same games. You know what changed? Mentality, confidence, and a quarterback who doesn't shake under pressure. Bo Nix had 316.2 fantasy points in the 2024 season as a rookie, 5th best all-time among first-year quarterbacks. He set franchise records for rookies with 29 passing touchdowns, 376 completions, and 3,775 yards. And in the 2025 season, he's keeping the pace, with 20 combined TDs and only 10 turnovers in 12 games. The offensive line is holding up well, even without Ben Powers. Luke Wattenberg at center is doing solid work. Garrett Bowles at left tackle continues to be a wall. Alex Forsythe, who was practically unknown, is doing the job at guard with Powers out. And the defense? 6 players with 5 or more sacks in the 2024 season. That's an absurd number. It means you can't simply double-team Nick Bonitto or Jonathan Cooper, because then Zach Allen or John Franklin Myers will destroy you. It's a nightmare for offensive coordinators. Now comes the exciting part, the home stretch. Every win brings them closer to that bigger goal, home field advantage during the playoffs. And man, playing at Mile High during the playoffs is a huge advantage. That altitude, that cold, that insane crowd. Visiting teams simply can't breathe right. Opposing quarterbacks struggle with the ball traveling differently through the air. It's a real, measurable advantage, and the Broncos know it. The Broncos face the Las Vegas Raiders in Week 14, and this is a perfect opportunity to further consolidate the division lead. The Raiders have a losing record and clearly aren't on the same level, but be careful, because divisional games in the NFL are always tricky. Then comes a sequence of games that will define whether the Broncos get the first seed in the AFC or not. They could face teams like the Indianapolis Colts, Los Angeles Chargers, Cincinnati Bengals. Every game is crucial. Mercedes Lewis, that 41-year-old tight end who became the oldest at the position to play in the NFL, is on the practice squad too. The guy is basically an assistant coach on the field, helping the younger players, bringing that experience of almost 2 decades in the league. When the Broncos activate Lewis in specific games, it's not just for the blocks, which are excellent, it's for the leadership and knowledge he brings. And here's a stat that will give any Denver Broncos fan chills. In Week 7 against the New York Giants, Bo Nix became the first player in NFL history to have at least 2 passing touchdowns and 2 rushing touchdowns in a single quarter. And it wasn't just any quarter, it was the 4th quarter of a game where the Broncos were losing 19-0 at the start of it. They turned the game around and won 33-32. It was the biggest comeback in recent league history. So, summing it all up, the Denver Broncos made an incredibly smart signing by bringing in Elijah Moore, a 25-year-old player with proven talent and a personal connection with Nick Bonitto. Bo Nix is playing at a level nobody expected, solving his weaknesses and becoming a complete quarterback. The defense is playing like one of the best in the NFL, led by a Nick Bonitto who just got $106 million. The offense hasn't even shown its full potential yet, and when Ben Powers comes back, it's going to get even scarier. At 10-2, with 9 consecutive wins, the Broncos aren't just dreaming about playoffs. They're aiming for the first seed in the AFC, home field advantage, and why not? A return to the Super Bowl for the first time since that magical 2015 title. And you know what's crazier? This team is still growing, still learning, still finding its identity. Imagine when everything aligns perfectly, when Moore is integrated into the system, when Powers returns to the offensive line, when the defense has all players 100% healthy. The rest of the NFL should be scared, very scared, because the 2025 Denver Broncos isn't luck, it's not coincidence, it's talent, planning, execution, and an insatiable hunger to get back to the top. So answer quick. Do you think Elijah Moore will be activated for the game against the Raiders? Or will Sean Payton hold him for a bigger game? And is there another bombshell signing coming before the playoffs? Leave it in the comments. Subscribe to the channel and share this video with that friend who doubts the Broncos. It's time to show the world that Broncos country is back. And if you missed anything, go back and watch it again. Because every detail matters when we're talking about a historic season like this. The Broncos are writing a story that will be remembered for decades, and you have the chance to follow every second of it. Mile High is roaring again, and there's nothing the rest of the league can do to stop this train. Choo-choo, baby. Destination Super Bowl.